Hello everybody, this is a video tutorial of the app on the Android devices. Already I'm logged in. If you need help with login, please contact the office and we can help you out with that. But basically to log in, you would have to you need a username and a password, and your username and your password are identical. The username would be the first letter of your first name, first letter of your last name, and the last four of your social security number with no spaces, and they all need to be lowercase. So the username is lowercase and the password is the same. Uh, Continuing on, when you get to this main screen on the Android device, this is the best way to um, navigate through the app. It's somewhat self-explanatory, where current assignment would be the load that you're currently on at the time. My assignments, I wish that they would say that this would be my history, like loads that you've done in the past. So if you had paperwork that you wanted to submit in for something that you've done in the past, this is where you would access those loads and add that paperwork or those documents to those loads at that time. The third one down is mobile communications. That's like talking on your Qualcomm. So instead of being in your truck to be able to answer or see Qualcomm messages, you can access them through this app on here. Motor accidents, if you ran into an issue that way, just follow the prompts on it, and please by all means notify dispatch and our safety director that there was an accident involved. Overages, shortages, and damages, that's what OS&D stands for. Same thing, you just follow the prompts as you go. If you run into any issues, basically it's just asking what it is. Is it an overage? Is it a shortage? Is it a damaged product? Please fill out as best as you can all the information that you can through the app here, and then also please notify dispatch of these overages, shortages, and damages. The next one down is your settlements. That is your payroll. You will be able to see history there, and you can filter how many weeks you want to go back. You could go back to basically the time that you started with us, or June, the middle of June of 2018 is when we started this app, so you could go all the way back to that point. Edit profile, that is the first step that I would like you to do when you get this new app onto your phone. Just please fill out all the lines. It's asking you for your cell phone number, your name, the company, which would be Dedicated Systems, and then also your email address. And that email address, what it does is, when you send in a bill of lading or proof of delivery through this app, it'll send a confirmation email to that email address, which is pretty handy. The next one down, when you're looking at this website here, just below that is going to be a video for iPhone platforms, and then just below that will be another video for the Android app platform. So once you can always go back to this, and it links up with YouTube, and you should be able to watch it, and if you ever have any questions in the future and things like that. Logging out, that just means to log out. If you are inactive with this app for more than 72 hours, it'll automatically log you out, and then you'll have to log back in. Contact us is where you can send emails through your email that of a choice provider that you have, and it would send an email directly to payroll@dedsys.com, which is payroll @dedsys.com. And the last portion is your options portion, and this is important to set up first when you're with your Android. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on options first, and there's a settings button in the upper left hand corner here. I'd like you to click on that, and one of the things that we're looking for that's important is this image filter right here. On Androids, it's a little bit different, and you click on that, and there's an adaptive black and white or a grayscale. Please change your phone to adaptive black and white. It automatically goes back, and just to double check that it went, you just hit adaptive black and white and that it shows up. That is the only thing that we really need to do in here. Don't change any other settings. Hit the back button right here. That'll get you back to settings, and then hit the back button again to go to the main screen. Okay, now that we are in the main screen, the first thing that I would like to do is go to the My Assignments. From My Assignments, you click on My Assignments, which is the second one down. Like I said before, I wish it would say History. And right now you can see that there is 6 assignments found in all various types. There's progress and then delivered. And then if you look down, there's some that say empty miles, and then there's loaded miles. Because if you're a company driver, we pay you for all miles, so we have to keep track of loaded and empty miles on these particular movements for these particular orders. The one that's in progress, this particular gentleman is in progress from Dillon to Green Bay. You can click on that particular one and it'll bring up information about the stops for this, where it says this stop or all stops. If you click on all stops, it shows from Dillon, South Carolina up to Green Bay. Now, if dispatch is asking you to do something and it's not showing up on here, this is directly related to your pay. That means that, let's say dispatch had you go from Florence or Dillon to Florence to Green Bay. Florence, South Carolina isn't in there. I would advise you to call them and make sure that they add that stop onto this area. If it's not on here, you're not going to get paid for it. So please help police us and make sure that what you're doing is reflective to what is on the screen right here. So going back to this area on this particular stop, anything that is an orange on the Android app, you can actually click on, and it's interactive, and it's going to bring up the mapping of that area on your phone. And so here it shows, and you can zoom out and gives you an idea of the bird's eye view of that location here. And to simply get out of here, you just want to go back to this back button, and it'll go right back into the app. And anything that is in orange is basically interactive. So here's a phone number. You could also click on that, and it'll ask you if you want to call that, and you just hit the call button right here, and it would automatically dial that in. So it saves a few finger steps. Once you are back into the app, you can actually hit back to these assignments. So let's say that you wanted to see more than just 6 assignments found. Let's say, for instance, this is the middle of February right now, and you wanted to go back to around Christmas time of 2018. You could, by just going up to this little cogwheel here, that's your settings parameters for what you're looking for. So you have a blank start date right now. There's a shortcut to this. You could type in 12/25/2018, just like this, 12/25/2018, okay, and hit next. Or an easier way is you could highlight this, delete it, and then just go T, and that stands for today's date, and then do the minus sign, and then how many days back you want to go. So let's say we want to go back 90 days. If you hit next, it automatically populates to just before Thanksgiving time in our system. So so it's really handy. That's a nice little shortcut to know that T minus and then how many ever days you want to go back. It'll go back that many days on it. If you leave this open end date open, basically that'll pull everything from 11/24 up till today's date. And then the same thing with loaded only. If you click on that, that'll show you only loaded loads versus empty moves, which we pay you for the empty moves. Just for demonstration sakes, I'm going to only go back 30 days. So we're going to do T minus 30 days and hit next, and that pulled up a date of 30 days from today. And in the upper right hand corner, there's this little paper airplane. That is your save feature. You want to hit that, go ahead and hit save. Now instead of 6 assignments found, there's 29 assignments found. And so you can actually scroll down um, oops, sorry. You want to scroll down and you can actually see all those assignments that this particular driver did. Now, the next step that we're going to go to is showing you how to add images through the app, and that's what the most important part of this app is. To add an image through this app, basically I showed you how to get the filter to find the load that you would like to add an image to by going up into the upper right hand corner for the filter. So I have actually proof of deliveries right now for a particular load that we did, that this particular driver did at the beginning of February here. So I'm just going to scroll down. It is 259253 is the load that I'm looking for. And once I find it, there it is. So here, if you look, there was an empty move where he went from Green Bay to Manitowoc. And then there was a loaded move where he went from Manitowoc to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Now I have proof of deliveries right now for him of this Manitowoc to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So that is the one that I want to click on. So I'm going to click on the loaded version, not the empty version. There's a difference there because if you try to add, I don't believe you can add images to empty moves. You can only add them to loaded moves. So now that we're in this particular load, 259253, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's this capture image button that's in orange, and that's interactive. And then there's also a capture signature. I'm going to show you what the capture signature does first, and then go back to show you what capture image does. So you'll click on the capture signature button to capture a signature. And what I advise drivers to do is that I don't want the driver or ourselves to be liable for if all of a sudden you hand over your phone to a person that's signing for it. Basically, capture signature is the consignee, the place that we're delivering to. We're asking for a signature or at least a name of who you delivered and who unloaded the product off the trailer from. And so let's hypothetically just say, hey, my name is Josh with Dedicated Systems. I'm here to deliver your load in North Carolina. And what's your name? And he goes, my name is Billy Bob. So he's like, nice to meet you, Billy Bob. I appreciate it. You know, go ahead and unload me. And thank you for taking the time to unload me today. And what you can do is you can type in his name, Billy Bob, and then you could hand the phone over to him. That's where I advise not to. But you could actually have him sign his name, Billy Bob, and let's say that was his name and he wanted a little smiley face over here or something like that. Okay. All of that is interactive, and as soon as you hit the save button over here, it sends it successfully into our system. And I'll show you what's really cool is in our system that automatically goes. So I'm going to slip over to our system here, and I have the load already programmed up, but I need to put in that load again, 0259253, for it to take. And here you can see that there was a shipment accepted by Billy Bob. And if I double click on this image, it'll show, if I bring this down a little bit, there's Billy Bob. So that's how slick the system works and how quick it works, which is really, really nice. Getting back into the app, now I'm going to show you how to capture images, which is the meat and potatoes of the system. To capture image, what you'd want to do is actually click on the capture image screen, and it's going to ask you if you what kind of document type. So let's just say that this is the main screen for document type. Everything is interchangeable at this point until you hit this little save button, this paper airplane in the upper right hand corner. So document types, there are many different document types to choose from. There's a bill of lading, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Weight scale, if you needed to have heavy and light weight scale slips, your weekly pay slip, which I will go into more detail in a second on that, tolls, any type of other miscellaneous items. Maybe you have to buy straps or something like that, and you have to have you had a receipt, a cash receipt for that. overages, shortages, and damages or cargo claims, uh, inspection records from the DOT. So if you have a vehicle inspection or a driver inspection record, please send it in on the load that you're doing at that time. And then the proof of delivery is at the end. So bill of lading is at the beginning of the load and proof of delivery is at the end of it. So basically a proof of delivery is a signed bill of lading from the customer. So basically think of it this way, that bill of lading starts with the letter B, and so does the word beginning. And so when you're at the shipper and you pick up a load, they give you a bill of lading that you sign saying that, yes, I attest to all the product that's on this trailer is true and correct. And it's considered a bill of lading at that point. And then once we finally drive all the way down to deliver it, it's considered a proof of delivery once Billy Bob signs for this particular paperwork at the other end there. From this point, what I have is a proof of delivery. So I'm actually going to be hitting the proof of delivery because that's the document type that I'm going to be taking a picture of. So I tap on proof of delivery, it shows up here. That is still interchangeable all the way up until the time that you actually save it via this little paper airplane here. Hit the add image button. It's going to ask you if you want to capture from your camera or select an image from your photos that were previously taken. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be capturing the image through your camera. So that's what I'm clicking on. Now it accesses my camera. In the upper corner here, you want to make sure that the flash is turned on. That helps keep the flash on. And another setup thing that I notice is just make sure that you have the best picture size possible, which this one is 12 megapixels, which is the highest quality here. So we're going to hit the back button. And so we're going to turn the flash back to on. And one of the other things that you want to do is just make sure that this edge, you have enough room, because there's a cropping tool after this that you want to be able to see that you can move those. You'll see in a second. Basically, you'll be able to move the blue lines. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting the center of the button to help focus, and then hitting the capture photo taker. Now on here, it doesn't look like it's really a clear picture, but on my phone it does. In the upper right hand corner, you want to hit OK. And then from here is these blue lines that this is the cropping tool. Anything inside the blue box is going to be kept. Anything outside is not. And that's where, if you got a little bit of wiggle room with your finger, you can move this around. If you have that paper right to the edge, you have no way of being able to move that around a little bit to help get all 4 corners of the bill of lading or the proof of delivery. The only thing that I suggest is just try to, when you want to take a picture, just hold it a couple inches above to create this nice border here. Once you like everything and this picture is upright like you would read in a book, not sideways, if the orientation is wrong, fix it here. And you can fix it by tapping on these buttons right here. Once you're done with that and you are happy with everything on the picture, it's going to omit anything outside the blue and keep anything inside the blue. So I hit save. Now it brings it up to a filter screen, an additional filter screen, and you have 4 choices to choose from down here. The second one, even though it may look nicer, it's going to be gray, and it goes through a filter from your phone to Birmingham, Alabama, and then it goes through another filter to us at our office. And unfortunately, the second filter turns that gray into black, and a lot of times the picture is illegible and we can't read it, and we ask you to resend it. So what I suggest is just right here where it says hold chosen filter button to set. I'm going to hold this left one, and it's going to default. And that's a nice little quick feature that once you set it, you don't have to go back in there and change it. And then there's this apply filter here where you hit it, and it took that page. Now, because I have more pictures, I only have page 1 of 3, and I need to get 2 of 3 and 3 of 3 taken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap those pictures quick, and I'll show you how quick this is. So just changing the flash to on. That one looks good. Actually, I do not want to use this one. I'm going to cancel that because it didn't take the order number at the top of the page. What I want to do is I want to make sure that the order number is written at the top of the page. Okay, so now that one has the order number, and make sure the flash is on. Snap a picture. That one looks good. Hit OK. The blue lines, we'll move them to the four corners. Hit save, and then it's already applied that filter that I saved as a default. Another thing you can do is you can kind of pinch zoom and just make sure that everything is legible. If it looks like crap to you on your side, it's going to look like crap to us, and we'll probably ask you to resend it anyway. So fix it here early before you even send it, and then go ahead and hit the apply filter button down here again. The second page is done, and now I'm going to add the third page. Capture image, and here's page 3 of 3. I have the load number written on there. I'm going to turn the flash on, focus, and snap a picture. That one I don't like, so I'm going to retry again. I'm just going to focus, snap a picture. Okay, much better. Now we're going to move these four corners, save it, and that looks good. Zooming in looks good. Apply the filter. So now that we have all three of these photos here, whatever you name it, so even at this point I could change it if they were really bills of lading. Like let's say I fat fingered it and these were supposed to be bills of lading instead of proof of deliveries. Now whatever is up here is going to label each page whatever that label is. So it's very important that you only send in proof of deliveries as proof of deliveries and lumper slips as lumper slips, or whatever you're sending in, whatever you name that document type is what it needs to be. Please do that. It's a computer. It's not smart enough to know the difference of what type of image it's sending. You're driving the system by telling it what you're sending in. So the proof of delivery, I'm going to click on that because that's what it is, and I'm going to fire this off by hitting this paper airplane here, and that'll send it into our system. You will get a code, and on that code you want to write on the back of the paperwork. So there's that P1 EMK2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the video screen here, and what I did was I wrote on the back of the piece of paper this P1 EMK2, and next to it I'm going to write POD. Okay, so what happens is if you have a code on there and you send in a bill of lading, you send in and you get a code for that, and then you have a proof of delivery and you get a code for that, it's nice to designate or tell yourself which code that is in relation to. So that's why I always ask the driver to say, hey, if you're sending a bill of lading, write BOL and then the code, and then once you deliver it to the place that you're delivering to, and they sign for it, name it as a POD and send in that code. I do get asked a lot of questions sometimes from drivers. Hey Josh, am I supposed to be sending in a bill of lading and a proof of delivery all the time? And we would ask that you do that, but you don't have to do that. If you know that you're not going to lose the paperwork and everything is going to it's not going to blow out of your hand or out of your truck, and you know that you're not going to lose it, then by all means just send in a proof of delivery at the end. But if you know that you're picking up the load from a shipper and you're dropping it at a drop yard and somebody else is delivering it, please always write that order number on the bill of lading and snap a picture as a bill of lading. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search this again, this 0259253. And here's that code, that P1EM code, and I'm going to bring up these images and find the screen that they're on, which is right here. And this is how they showed up on our screen. Unfortunately, it's kind of it is showing the whole screen. It's just that my view is a little off here, so maybe I can fix that. One second. Nope, maybe not. Well, just trust me that all the pages did show up and they are nice and clean, and you can read all the writing on there, which is legible. So that's a great thing. Okay, so back to the main screen we go. Um, we'll go back to the main screen here, and this is that is pretty much how you take the images. I will explain how to do weekly pay slips in a second here. To capture a weekly pay slip, it's the same as capturing a proof of delivery or bill of lading or any other document type. It's just that we're labeling it weekly pay slip. So from this main screen, what you want to do is you want to either be on your current assignment or most recent delivered load. So current assignment you can click on, and towards the bottom there should be the capture image, and you can actually do the capture image just like you'd normally do it. But here the document type is going to be considered the fifth one down, which is driver weekly pay slip. So you click that, and then you add the image and you preview it and send it off via the paper airplane here, and you get a confirmation just like you would any other documents. But the weekly pay slip is it's up until the time that you do your, it's Saturday night at midnight is the cutoff time. Normally we have drivers sometimes that are like, hey, but wait a sec, I'm down in Florida and I'm going up to South Carolina and my load delivers Monday morning. Should I put that on this pay slip, or should I stop myself in Georgia, or how should I do that? And my answer to them is uh, basically you as a driver have to determine whether you want to be paid for that load for delivery on Monday morning for this week's pay slip or not. We can't split a load halfway through. It has to be delivered on our end to be able to pay you for it. So what we like to say is if you as a driver want to have that on for this previous week, this Friday to Monday delivery, and you had, like, let's say you had a short week or whatever not, and you want to get paid for it, go ahead and write it on your pay slip, and only if it's a delivery that delivers Monday morning. If it delivers Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll have to put it on the next week's pay slip. So then with that, wherever you decide, let's say you're in Florida and you deliver Monday morning, you decide you don't want to put it on that weekly pay slip, make sure that the next week's pay starts where the last week's pay ended. So if you're deciding to say that you are in Florida and you want to have that on next week's pay slip, so show this week as entering in Florida, and then next week show that you're beginning in Florida, and so on and so forth. Okay? A couple other housekeeping items is that I forgot to say or mention was on the My Assignments, you may notice at the top it'll say when you bring up a particular load, it'll say a movement, and then you have an order number. Bad example. Bring up. So this particular load right here, this order number 260009. If you bring that load up, you have a movement that's assigned to it, and then you have the order of 260009. The order number of the 260, that particular number is the number that we would like to have written on all bills of lading / proof of deliveries. That is the number kind of as a holy grail for us to be able to quickly locate to see if the image of the bills of lading or proof of deliveries or any other paperwork has been scanned into our system by you or internally at the office. So writing this number on the top of the bills of lading or any of the paperwork that you have is really important to us. But please don't get confused with this movement number. So for instance, if you're looking at this particular load, this is a load that went from Dillon to Columbia, South Carolina. Let's say maybe somebody picked up this load at the store and dropped it in the drop yard, and then somebody else picked up this load from the drop yard and delivered it to the facility in Columbia, South Carolina. Think of it like two sticks. So it picked up in Dillon, dropped in Columbia, but then there was like a drop yard in between, and one driver did one portion, and you as the other driver did the other portion. So that first portion, like breaking that stick into two pieces, is considered a movement in our system. Even though the whole order from Dillon to Columbia, South Carolina was billed to our customer as one order number, but there were two different movements because two different drivers touched that load. One picked it up, brought it to the drop yard, and then you as the driver picked it up from the drop yard and delivered it down. So please don't get confused with the movement. That's just basically one little section of the whole entire order. The order number is what drives our system. That's the number that we like to have on all paperwork. Once you have that paperwork filled out and scanned, one thing that we'd really like you to do is once a week hand in your paperwork into the office. That just keeps all that paperwork from being cluttered in your truck, and it helps us be able to get that paperwork into our hands in case if the customer needs that paperwork, if they need the originals or things like that. So appreciate that. Going back to the main screen, the only other thing that I can think of that might be of information would be the mobile communications. Looking at the mobile communications, you just click on the mobile communications. That's just like being in your truck with the Qualcomm. You have some filter buttons up here, or you can also send a message from here. What I'm going to do is just hit this button right here, and that's a filter button, and it's asking if you want inbound and outbound messages, only inbound messages, or outbound messages. So I would just say leave it open, and then days to show. This is just a regular number, so how many days back you want to go. So let's say we would just want to go back 9 days, and then hit done. Now it's not saved until you hit this little paper airplane that saves your settings. Now there's a particular message that is for this particular driver. You can bring it up and you can reply from it just the same way that you normally would. By clicking on this, you could reply back, and it's a free form message, and you basically could type in your hi. You can say hi, it's Josh, and then you can just fire that off by that. There are other messages here that talk about things in general, but normally if it's just a free form message, you just want to send it as a free form message, and you would send that off. But since I really don't want to send it off, I'm not going to. I'm just going to hit the back button and back out of this screen. But that's just like being inside your truck, being able to read your Qualcomm messages and responding to your Qualcomm messages. Pretty slick. On behalf of myself and everybody at the Dedicated Systems team, we appreciate you watching this video. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at the numbers below. My extension is 103. I'm Josh right here. I guess I was the only guy that decided to wear shorts that day in summer. Our father, Mike Sr., my nephew Quade, and then MJ, my brother. We really appreciate you taking the time to learn this app. We think it's beneficial. There's a lot of good things about the app. If you do have questions, please feel free to give me a call. And you guys have a great day and drive safe out there. Thank you very much.